my
prior
athletes.
Marine, okay? All right, I will chew your ass. I swear to God.
Yeah, and no, a lot of people they need
But
that.
don't be
though.
scared because
You know?
he won't chew your ass if you're committed and
Yeah.
you know are putting 100% in. They're going to meet you
Yep.
where you're at.
I will
right?
chew your ass and light the fire underneath you out of love.
What's going on, Sarasota? My name is Brad Hannon.
Felipe Clone.
And we're missing Trey Martell, but today we've got some great guests. We got Dustin and Matt. You might know them from Warrior Talks. You might know them from Warrior Aesthetics, but some badasses in the fitness space. We're excited to get into it. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Of course, man. Thanks
Pleasure.
for having us on, man.
So normally we start off talking directly about the guests, but we both had a killer time at the party. I would guess all of us
awesome.
had a killer time
great.
at the party last week. So I wanted to just talk briefly about the SpeaX party and what you guys' thoughts were, because we haven't really gotten real live feedback yet. So
I thought it was phenomenal, man. I thought it was definitely great for the community, and obviously that's why we do this, right? That's why we have Sarasota SpeaX. You're gonna have hopefully someday Fort Myers SpeaX, and that's to bring the community together, right? Amazing food over there at Food and Beer. I actually love that spot. Their burger, dude.
Isn't
oh
it
my
dope?
god, bro! It's like their black
And you
burger
got to
with
eat
the
it
bacon.
right in front of Dustin.
And I had, unfortunately, he's dieting, guys. So we'll get into that. But
He said it was the best burger he's ever had.
bro,
I don't know.
phenomenal.
Hey,
It was
shout
really
out
good.
Food and Beer. Shout out Food
lying.
and
Like,
Beer.
I'm gonna try it. What is that? The Big Mick challenge or something like
it's
that?
Big
Mick.
I'm doing that. That's
You
okay.
could, you're gonna,
You know you
you're
don't
gonna
win
know
anything
that
for that, right?
You
It's
only
like
get a T-shirt.
get a
That's totally
t-shirt.
fine. But I've never done anything like that.
bragging rights, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I promise you right now, it's a bottomless pit when you're dying for a show. He could do it. So Sarasota,
for sure.
we
coming
got
in there.
For sure.
We might have to cover that.
Yeah,
Well,
but-
thanks for coming. It was awesome, and I know that you guys struck up some good relationships from it. So I wanted to definitely talk about it. But let's get into Warrior Aesthetics. What is Warrior Aesthetics, and what's this all about?
So, it's crazy, man, because it was a dream that I had probably 10 years ago, and I don't know if you guys know her name, Sue Taz. She lives in Sarasota. You know her, Sue?
Oh,
Any of you?
she's from, was it South Africa or England? Or
Yes. I think she's from England.
Doesn't
Yep.
surprise me that
Yeah.
Felipe knows.
Yep, she's from England.
She
Sweetheart.
was my first trainer.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
I used
there
to
you
work
go.
with her
That's awesome,
crazy.
man.
at the Anytime Fitness
Yep.
up by the Publix.
Yep.
Just randomly.
Wow. So shout out to
Jeez.
her, man. She's amazing. So, I remember, talking to her, and I'm like, I think I'll have like a vision for like my business and like what I want to do. And if I ever name it, it's going to be called Warrior Aesthetics, right? And then one thing left to another. And, 2020 was shit for all of us. They shut down the country. I was a server at that point. So I was, making $100,000 a year. Not a big deal. I had to work in 5 nights a week coming out. But then once we got shut down, I was like, dude, I have to do something else, right? And this is what I've always been passionate about. And I've always been lifestyle coaching. And then at that point, I'm like, I'm going to do this shit for real. 2020 happened. I refused to wear the fucking mask. They tried to make me wear a mask. I'm like, fuck you guys. So I said, I ain't doing this shit. So I didn't not wear a mask, started my business 2021 pretty much, the January, and it just beyond, exploded.
Yeah.
Never thought it would be there. And then obviously as I grew, I partnered up with Dustin. We have another coach on the team, Raven. And it's just, they've been such a good help to me, that just for
sure.
the business growth. And honestly, just to see them grow has just been awesome too. Like he's got his pro card now. So he's a competitive bodybuilder. He joined the team pretty much last year, and everything else is history, man. We keep going. So
And he's been on a month-long prep, like 2-month long, 3-month long.
No, dude,
prep.
I've been on prep since January
motherfuckers.
1st.
Yeah.
6 months.
Okay. Yeah. Your boy is hungry.
Yeah.
But
I
it
want a
seems
little
like,
bit of normalcy.
it seems
but
like you're
okay.
getting used to it, though,
I
because
am.
I train
I
with
am.
Dustin.
Yeah.
So shout out to Warrior Aesthetics. I train with Dustin. He kicks my ass.
Yeah.
But I remember the first show before the St. Louis, right? That week, I'm like, dude, I'm just going to give you the week off. Don't worry about training me. Just focus on the show because he's dead.
Yeah,
and then
I
the
saw
next
that, right?
prep, he's like, I'm ready to go. I'm like, dude, you got more energy than me and you're eating nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know. how you do
I don't
it.
know, man. I just got like a second win, and it was just like, all right, cool. I understand where I'm at. I know what I need to go.
Yeah.
I'm done being tired. Let's move.
Well, we talked about it on the original podcast. So I want to bring it up with Felipe as well, because pre-show he actually picked up on it, which is cool, right? And that is the kind of the community that you built and the name that stands out when you go to these events, and also the fact that because of the community, like people on the outside looking in are like, man, they're doing something that I want to be a part of. So how does that happen? Like it's more than fitness programs and training, and it's community. And so was that always in the vision? Was that just something that kind of evolved, or like what
Yeah.
How do we do that? You know?
I mean, that was never in the vision, man. Like when I started, it was just one-on-one training, man.
Yeah.
It was just one-on-one training. Then I got one more client that wanted to do a show, and then I got another client and another client and another client. And then about 2 years ago, I was, let me do Sunday check-ins. Like I'm getting too busy now. I can't put people one-on-one. Let me do Sunday check-in. So I did a Sunday check-in, man, and it just went so good. Like I had like 10 people there. Everyone's showing people like how to pose and they're doing this. And like it just exploded at that point. And I've never thought in the future I'm taking stuff as I go, right?
Yeah.
And it just keeps growing. Like now we got the podcast. Shout out to you guys for letting us, we have Warrior Talk
Warrior
podcast
Talks.
now.
If you haven't seen that, podcast, go check it out. You guys are
never
killing
know.
it.
And exactly, man. And I think like as far as the community aspect, we never knew that it was going to get this big. And then once I brought Dustin on, brought Raven on, it just got even bigger because then they're bringing their clients, and now everyone's in the same room. And then we started doing team workouts. I remember the first team workout I did. I think you were a part of it over there, Amped, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It was like right when he first started joining the team and started dieting down, and there was like 50 people that came to that one, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. And then every month we try to do it, and then one thing led to another, man, and we're just keep growing. And like now everyone has that person on the team that they go to, and I think bodybuilding has always been such an individual sport, and that we found a way to bring it together, and it has just been mind blowing. I never thought a million years I'd be doing what I'm doing right now, and in this room.
I mean, the caveat of that, I've always been family environment, family oriented type of person. And so wherever I go, I try to bring that family environment. And, he started that with the Sunday check-ins, and I just like to involve as many people as I can and try to pass as much information as I can, show the love. I mean, I'm Hawaiian, we show the aloha, right? And so it's just like we've built that community of like-minded people that are able to pass on valuable information, like posing with and helping each other out on this team. And it's just it's again, it's a vibe. People want that, and they come to it and they're attracted to it. So it makes
awesome. Everything a little bit easier too. Like you're going through prep, and you got people on the team that have also are also going through it. You're putting multiple competitors on stage at the same show, so everyone's kind of the same. 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out sometimes, and they can relate, and they can have somebody to kind of lean on, and makes everybody's lives a little bit easier. And then obviously the value from the the growth opportunity of just, hey man, what do you do about this, or what do you do about that? I watch your guys' podcast live every week almost. Like I'm not doing it. I'm sitting at my desk. I'm looking at numbers and whatever. So I'll put it up on the screen, or I'll just listen into it. And the topics of conversation are pretty valuable. Like this last one, talking to new competitors. What do you expect in your first show and things, and you wouldn't expect that to go into like relationships and family and how to deal with, like how do you deal with your social life during that? And that's like the things that I feel like are missed a lot in bodybuilding, and, are like, you kind of just figure it out by going through it, and no one's telling you, but you guys are kind of talking about topics that aren't talked about much. So
let me take a second to break it down for our viewers, because you guys have a very specific niche in your podcast, and you do it. I watched some episodes, and I could see why people who are really into what you're doing would love to watch your show, because they're getting kind of the real talk that you can't just get anywhere, because you're not going to get people in a room like that who are at the level that you're at and all working together to row the boat in the same direction. Absolutely. Right? So that's cool. But a lot of people watch Sarasota Speaks. They're really just watching us they want to meet people in the community that they wouldn't otherwise meet. They want to hear about things going on in the community that they wouldn't otherwise hear about. Maybe they're not an expert in what the guest has on, right? But they're interested, and they want to learn about Sarasota. So let's break it down. Like, Warrior Aesthetics is your personal trainers, and you're also bodybuilding prep coaches who have built a unique format in which you're not just coaching individuals. You guys are all working as a team together, and as almost like a family, like you said. Absolutely. Which is something that is not common in, I wouldn't even call it your industry, almost like your culture, because it's a lot more than just an industry, right? This is a lifestyle. I mean, you really need to want to do this and make a lot of sacrifices. So speak to that to the layperson, because like we talked about in the pre-show, a lot of folks who probably watch something like your podcast are one of two types of folks. There's somebody like Brad who is like really interested in what you do and has thought about competing before. And then they're probably someone like me who thinks what you do is really cool but doesn't know a lot about it and is almost like a voyeur, right? So like how would you break it down to like explain to both those types of folks what you do and why they should watch and why they should really be watching you guys apart from the podcast too? Yeah.
I'll go first. I think that bodybuilding gets this stigma that you have to compete, right? And like I say that Brad's a bodybuilder. Dustin was a bodybuilder before ever even stepped on stage. So anyone in
What
Sarasota.
about
Felipe, hey, I don't know if he goes to the gym, but you should. And if you
did
don't,
one time.
you got to go now. You
I'm
know,
just trying to live. Well, you saw me one
Yeah, I
time.
saw him at the
I
vault one
regularly.
time.
I remember seeing him.
okay, hell yeah, man. I know you
I
told me
almost died
that.
during that workout, man.
Hey, you'll live though.
Shout out to Ben Jacobs Babel. That
You
guy's
got through
ripped,
it,
man.
though. You got through it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. But yeah, man, I think that it gets a bad stigma, you know, and I would say a lot of the people that we do train are lifestyle clients. You know, every single one that you train in the gym is almost a lifestyle client, right?
Absolutely,
Like
yeah.
you got Lugo, you got him, you got Pablo. So these are all people that just want to get in shape and just have a good time in the gym, right? And it's also like therapy, right? When you go into the gym and you get your body right and your mind right, dude, it's so much better. And if you're in Sarasota, do not waste your money on these like commercial gyms that just don't give a shit about you, that are overcharging.
Yes.
And I'm just going to be fucking honest, man. Like, people are wasting their damn money. If you live in Sarasota and you're not working with somebody on my team, just reach out. I'm not even just fucking saying that. Like, it's embarrassing, honestly. How much they're charging these people, and for two, the lack of knowledge that these people have, right? I was very selective on the people I brought on my team, and I think that if you're in Sarasota and you're not, please God, reach out now. But yeah, I think, you know, anyone from a lifestyle client all the way up to a competitor to an older guy who just wants to stay in shape. Even I've coached like young kids, like 14, 15 years old, that just want to like start, you know, they don't know where to start. And I will obviously give them the building blocks to that. But yeah, what do you got, man?
So, you know, for the people who are experienced bodybuilders, you know, we're trying to bring as much knowledge to the community as we can. And so some of the experienced bodybuilders might not have little tips and stuff, and you know, certain things that you should do during a competition, or things that you should eat, and carbing up and stuff like that.
Things you shouldn't eat.
Yeah, things that you shouldn't eat. So for our podcast, we're really trying to bring everything to light in terms of bodybuilding as a whole. And then for the people who are mainly like voyeurs, who think this type of stuff is cool and maybe are a little bit interested, you know, we're just trying to open their eyes, give them something to look at, and be able to absorb, and potentially, who knows, maybe they might want to come in and actually start. And so, yeah, we're just trying to provide that platform for people to all come together in terms of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
I mean, big shout out to Brianna. You know, she was a lifestyle client for me for years. I don't know if you know Brianna Diaz, Gustavo Diaz's daughter, right? She was with me for, God, almost a year straight, and she never thought in a million years she'd get on stage, guys. And now she wants to be a pro bodybuilder, not even a little bit later. And she dominated the stage a few months ago. So
she's looking good right now.
You never know, man. Like, but if you don't start, you don't know. Like, even the buddy, what's his name? Trey? Trey was just on here. He's like, yeah, I just want to get into, bro, start. What are you fucking doing, bro?
That's why he's not.
What are you doing, bro?
That's Don.
Like, why are we even
That's
talking?
That's why Trey's not here. To be frank, though, Trey's
we rag on his.
He didn't want to get. He didn't want to get recruited into too much fitness. Is the problem. So
next, we'll get him on next.
Well, you know, we also had a historic 1 in 1,000 year rainfall that we'll probably have another one next week.
He's a roofer and he's going
he's
insane right now. I think that was a record, by the way.
Something like that.
Rained 4 inches in an hour, under an hour, and the previous record was like 3 something. You know, low 3s or 3.
I hear 41 was completely
it was
flooded,
nuts.
dude.
It was nuts.
St. Armand Circle, they had to get like buses to go pick up all the people. These came so fast.
These roads were dry.
Crazy.
These roads were dry at 5:30 or whatever before it started. By 6:30, it was like 1.5 feet, 2 foot of water.
It's like flash floods,
dude. It was nuts. But I saw a picture from a guy that was working at Columbia, and there was water on the floor, like over his shoe. And he's like, anyone hungry? And then 5 minutes later, he posts a older couple sitting at the table. Their feet were raised, like they're on like the feet of the table, and the bag was on the chair, and I guess maybe fell because it was in the water. Yeah. But they're just enjoying their meal, unbothered. Bro,
that's Florida,
by the 6 inches of water that are on the floor at Columbia. I'm like, hey man, good on those people just making the most of it. They're probably here on vacation, and like a little bit of rain's not going to stop them. But yeah, it was nuts. But let me speak to it from somebody that has, been working with you guys for a while. One of the things that I can say is that, there are times where I've been less committed, right? Like I've been, traveling or busy or whatever. And the one thing that I've noticed is no matter how much I maybe wasn't committed that week or whatever, you guys were still committed. Like Matt's like, yo, send me your check-in. Like, and I'm like, dude, aren't you? I was trying not to bother you because I thought you were in St. Louis or you're coming back from this other show or whatever. And he's like, that's right. I got your meal plan for you. Get it 11 p.m., 10 p.m. It never missed. So the discipline, right, is why we, that's when I presented the idea to start the podcast was like, these guys aren't going to not show up, a couple of weeks or whatever. Like these guys are going to commit to doing a podcast a week, and they're not going to fail at that, because you're committed. So, and that along with the fact that you are already building a community, and that's what SpeaX is about, right? We want to build that community, and we want to have a community of podcasts that work together and shed light on different topics. And obviously, we're a little bit more business focused and community. You guys are a little bit more fitness and bodybuilding focused. And I love how we're working together and how that's evolved. And you guys are crushing into that space. So, what's the goal for long term with Warrior Aesthetics on the coaching side of things? What's the goal? Like, how do you continue to scale? Like, do you want to take this national? Is this always going to be local? What's the thoughts there?
So I think that it's sky is the damn limit in this sport, right? Like, because there's so many different like genres of like this industry. You have the big lifestyle program, which is we're sleeping on 100%. Like, we don't push lifestyle, we push a lot of competitors. I guess vision wise, I would say 3 to 5 years, we have 50 coaches on the team. He's controlling 25, maybe Raven's controlling 25. I don't know, that like mentors them, right?
Right.
And it teaches them how we do it, why we are dominating the stage, the building blocks to do that. I think that would be amazing, so eventually have 50 coaches on the team, big get-togethers. We were talking about, Sarasota SpeaX and Warrior Aesthetics collabing, because we'd have to run out the whole fucking studio, the whole whatever. Sarasota Twin Beer might have 2 of you, might have 2 different locations, but eventually, stuff like that. I think, but you never know, man. I don't know. I think one-on-one training, I think eventually we'll have to get our own gym at some point. We have no choice.
I was hoping you would say that.
No choice. Supplement line, no choice.
Absolutely.
Eventually, because I think that no matter who you get sponsored by, they're going to be lacking supplements that I and Dustin believe in here.
Right.
So eventually we'd have to open up our own supplement line. Now that's something that's going to be in the future, right? Obviously we need money to do that. And I think that as we grow, I think it's going to be, the money's going to be there. And anything I've started, I've never started for the money. I mean, you'd yell at me all the time about it. I mean, it's not for but it is for the money, Matt.
Right.
But no, it's not. The money will come as long as the passion is there.
Well, income is the outcome, they say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of the things that you described were really just quality control too, right? You want to have your own gym because you want to have control over the equipment and the environment, right?
Yes.
You want to have your own supplement line so you know what your athletes are taking.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You want to have, like you said, the division with the coaches because you want to make sure that everybody's on the same team, doing things the right way. Would you ever even consider having your own certification, like a Warrior certified?
So I'm very happy that you. I'm very happy that you said
question.
that, because I actually don't believe in certifications. To be 100% honest, it's a fucking scam. So a lot of these places like Crunch, they need to know that you're not a retard, right? So they'll hire you on and say, okay, you need to get this little ISSA certification just to work here, right? But it's all open book. No one gives a shit, right? NASM is a whole different fucking level, right?
Yep.
Like. That okay, you got to not be a dumbass, right? So for me personally, I don't require any of my coaches to get certified, because I know by looking at them from what they've done with their body and talking to them that I've already vetted them. You know what I'm saying? I would only bring someone on the team that I know for sure knows what the hell they're doing. Now, I don't blame commercial gyms for doing that, but it's a fucking scam, dude. And here's the thing, like ISSA, I'll talk about it real quick. $1,500 to get your certification. Every 2 years, they make you get more certification just to make money, and you have to keep the certification active.
Continuing education credits.
Yeah. Like, we just went over to Patriot Fitness. He texted me. He's like, hey, we need all of your trainers to have certification. I said, listen.
It's like look, mine is expired. Okay?
I will never do it.
My knowledge is not. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
but
still there.
legally, you don't need to legally have a certification to train in Florida. So
We have a similar issue in my industry. There's alphabet soup of certifications. I'm not going to call anybody out. Some of them are pretty rigorous, but a lot of them are the money grab with the continuing education and marketing. And I'm glad you said that, because I noticed that at Crunch. In fact, I think that a lot of those places recruit people that they know go to the gym all the time just to get them in that program to collect the money.
Yep, exactly.
It's sad.
Well, and we just had 2-3 weeks ago, we had someone on the podcast, a clinical dietitian.
Yep.
You could go and we kind of talked about this a little bit. You could go online and within a week you could be a certified
nutritionist.
Nutritionist.
I should say
right? So now you have 1 week and you got this check mark that says you're a certified nutritionist. But this woman went to school for 8 years to be a clinical. I mean, she knows when you put a grain of salt in your body, she knows what it's going to do to the levels of everything, right?
The molecular, cellular level.
So she
She
can
watched
look
the
at
episodes.
your, she can literally look at your blood work and tell you hey, this, that, and the other. So to the extent of what you guys are trying to do, it's not necessary to be a clinical dietitian, right? Like you're still improving the quality of life for your clients by focusing on the fitness and focusing on their food, their fuel.
Yeah. And I think a big thing when it comes to a fitness trainer or somebody who is legit in the field is you have to look the part as well.
yes.
right? I mean, there's so many
How many
times.
fat ass trainers do we see at fucking
You
brunch, bro?
can go to any commercial gym right now.
300 fucking pounds.
You walk in there and you're like, this guy's a trainer. Can you imagine, right? You sit down and you're doing your little onboarding, you're signing up for a gym, and they're like, oh, hey, you can get a free session with this guy over here. And he comes around the corner and you're like, oh, yeah. I don't know if this guy is, legit. I don't think that this guy can put the practical application to his certification, right?
Yeah.
So
I've always said you cannot lead people where you've not been, right?
Yeah.
So, that person in that state probably is not to the level that I
gotta
want
play
to be at.
a little
right?
devil's advocate. I mean,
That'd be fun. Let's do
maybe
it.
the guy's got a glandular problem or some sort of issue.
Maybe.
or maybe he's
Who
got
knows?
I shoved too many burgers in my mouth problem.
Yeah,
But
maybe
it's
it's a
true,
fucking donut problem.
It's also it's also horrible marketing for your business. Like if you are the business and you're a personal trainer,
But you got to
like,
understand
it
that
is-
people work out for different reasons, and
For
some
sure.
people are like I say in my business a lot. My job is to get you from point A to point B financially, whatever that means to you. It means different things to different people.
Absolutely.
Maybe for somebody that means being at this weight and being just a little bit over here so they can play with their grandkids.
For sure.
Who knows? That's not really what you guys do, but I mean, there's plumbing out there for everybody, right?
Well,
Absolutely.
would you guys say that there are people that you won't work with, like on the lifestyle? We're really just talking
absolutely
lifestyle.
100%.
So, I mean,
That's a good
there's-
question.
On the
So-
competitive side, you've got to rule out listen, this person's not committed. I don't want to work with them. That's fair. But on the lifestyle side,
So,
what would you say?
I think me and Dustin have complete opposite views on this. So,
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I think personally that, I do think, like you said, we do it for the money a lot of times, right? So I am gonna, of course I want every athlete to do great. I want every person to do great. But when I see that you're not fucking committed, I'm not gonna just not fucking take you. Like if you want to pay me the money to not follow my fucking plan, bro, that's on you. You do whatever the fuck you want. I'm still getting fucking paid, right? Now I will give my energy to more people who want to they're paying for this shit. And you don't want to do it. Now he unfortunately doesn't want to take clients that aren't serious, which I
So
fully
here I
understand.
could take this. So when it comes
speak for the man.
so when it comes to a lifestyle client, I don't like fucking lifestyle clients at all. Period. Because the majority
I'm a
of
lifestyle
lifestyle
client, for the record.
clients are uncommitted, right? So I've transitioned all of my lifestyle clients into an off-season athlete. Why? Because an off-season athlete is going to be way more committed, and I vet all of my lifestyle clients initially from the very first text message that I send them.
Yeah.
And I say, if you are not committed, or if this just sounds like fun, or sounds like a cool thing to do and not something that you're going to be 100% committed to, I'm not the guy for you.
Yeah.
And so before you respond to this message, I need you to ask yourself honestly if this is what you want to do. Because if you give me 100%, I'm going to give you 200%.
Yeah.
No matter what, it's going to be an individual effort based, right?
You're right.
So I can lead this horse to water, but I can't make him drink.
100%.
And that frustrates the hell of me. I don't want to waste my time with somebody who is uncommitted.
Can you break down what an off-season athlete is for us, though?
So I would consider Brad an off-season athlete. So what an
Well, we need
off-season
to shackle that motherfucker down there. Right? He's been doing too much.
So what an an on-season athlete would be somebody like me. I am currently on season. I am on prep. Have a competition in 2.5 weeks. I am on season of my competitions, right? An off-season athlete is somebody who is going off-season. I do not need to compete anymore. I am going to go on a season of growth. And so I want to get big, or I want to lean down. You can do both ways, right? So for me, an off-season athlete, depending on what their goal is, if they want to lean out, I'm going to get them to lean out. And so at that point, this person, like we were saying initially, might get an itch to actually compete. They got down to this certain level of leanness and they're like, hey, maybe I want to step on stage and see what I can do. So that's what I consider an off-season athlete.
Caveat to that is I do think the reason why I am so successful is because even if somebody doesn't show like they're giving me 100%, eventually they will, right? You never know what someone's going through, right? They could be really fucking busy, and if, and I try to explain this to Dustin, if you, really push someone too hard, they're going to get discouraged, and then they're going to have a different look of you because let's say you're mean, and even if Dustin is coming from the best place, the
He's
best
never
fucking
been mean
place.
to me.
That's what I'm saying, because you bust your fucking ass, right? But some people,
Always
they
bust his
do
ass.
annoy us, but to me personally, I kind of understand, and I've been doing this a little bit longer, I think. I mean, it's been a long fucking time, but with the amount of clients that I had, and he's going to understand the bigger he gets, you're going to have to focus your energy into the people that really fucking matter.
Yep, true.
That
Yeah.
want to do it. Everyone matters, but if
you only have so much time to
If
dedicate,
Dustin's
right?
giving me 100%, why am I going to take energy out of him to put it in someone who can't follow a plan, right? I'm still going to give this person the plan, and I'm still going to motivate this person, but I'm not going to not take him or not give him energy just because he's not following the plan,
Yeah.
right? And that's just more of like again, it does come down to finances. Like, I want to keep growing my business. I want to there's a reason why I have no one who talks shit about me in town, even if they don't follow the plan, because I understand, people are having
Really? Because I saw a story the other day.
There might be somebody.
There's two motherfuckers that talk shit, and they can fuck off. But yeah.
Well, they're not here right now. So
That's interesting. So from my layperson's ears, it sounds like an off-season athlete is somebody who has goals as an athlete.
Absolutely.
But those goals don't explicitly mean competing at
Yes.
that point in time.
Yes,
So,
perfectly
but
defined.
that makes sense to me because
Perfectly defined.
why would you want to work with someone who's aimless?
Exactly.
Because you're not running your business as aimless, and
No.
you don't take the time to set up these things in an aimless fashion,
Yeah.
right? So I can understand.
Well,
that.
imagine this, and this is where I think I'm like right in the middle of both of those answers. If it was asked to me, and I would think that there's a certain person that if they come on board with you and they get a plan at 12 weeks, whatever, and then they train for 12 weeks with you, and at the end of the 12 weeks they don't look any different than they started, and they're at dinner with some friends and they're like, yeah, I worked with Warrior Aesthetics.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
they're like, oh, well, fuck, man. They're not very good because look at you.
Yep.
Well,
Because they are a reflection
Correct.
of me.
Yeah.
My athletes are a reflection
Correct.
of me, and I expect them to act accordingly. That's how I work.
And not even just, he's talking about
Prior
athletes.
Marine, okay? All right? I will chew your ass. I swear to God.
Yeah, and no, a lot of people they need
But
that.
don't be
though.
scared because you won't chew your ass if you're committed and you are putting 100% in. They're going to meet you
Yep.
where you're at.
I will
right?
chew your ass and light the fire underneath you out of love.
So then here's the flip side to it, right? We don't give this guy enough credit, but Edub, the man behind the scenes, making all the magic happen all the time. I'm having a conversation with him Tuesday morning. We're doing some teardown from the party still, and he's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna do some training with the Warrior Aesthetics
Love it.
guys.
Yeah.
I'm
Love
like,
it.
dude, do it, man.
Can't
Do
wait to
it.
have you.
He's
Transforming his ass.
he's like,
Can't
but
wait to have you,
but he
E-Dub.
goes, here's the thing though, I'm doing it on my own right now, and I'm putting in the work so that I'm not starting at below
Ground zero.
below ground zero. Like I'm gonna basically come in in the best shape that I can get myself into, because I don't want to waste these guys' time.
Yeah, we
right.
were
I don't
talking
want
about
to, and so that's where it's like it's kind of a balance between you want to have like a warm welcome for somebody. You want to be able to like not scare somebody off that wants to take that step, but also be serious enough and be rooted in your own beliefs enough to where hey, if you're making that step towards getting better, right, then we're gonna meet you there. But if you're not, don't waste your time.
Yeah.
Like don't buy this plan from me
Yeah.
just to buy the plan and say you did it.
Yeah.
Buy it if you're going to commit to it. Right.
Well, it goes back to like the team atmosphere as well. You don't know how many clients I've gotten that aren't 100% serious. That, of course, they've gone through their own problems, but they get in the team. They get in the check-ins.
Yeah.
They're like, holy shit, Alex, you can't be doing that. Like, what are you doing that for? The fuck, cut that shit out. We don't need, we're winning here. Like, okay, then they get more serious, right? So
Yep.
even
That's
if
the
they aren't
culture.
serious in the beginning, I feel like in my experiences, they will get serious. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Just like we had a couple guys that he's coaching now that were fucking up a lot, and now we're getting on their fucking ass, and the team is getting on his ass, so now he's busting his ass. So,
Right.
and now they're transforming. So even, I don't care if if you don't have the most drive in the beginning, we'll make you have the most drive. Dustin will encourage you that.
Right.
Demand it almost.
Right.
And that's what our team, we demand excellence. So.
I love it, man. I love it. Hey, listen, we're having a blast here. Getting to know Matt and Dustin from Warrior Aesthetics. Get to know them a little bit more with this next segment called Rapid Fire Questions, fueled by food and beer.
What's up, Sarasota? I'm Matt Blouin, the owner of Warrior Aesthetics.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Dustin Nahale, head coach and athlete for Warrior Aesthetics.
And this is Rapid Fire.
Let's go.
10 random questions, 10 specific answers, nothing off limits. This is Rapid Fire, fueled by food and beer. What's your pet peeve?
Non-committed people. They just frustrate the shit out of me, and I hate the fact that they waste my time.
Don't waste my motherfucking time!
My biggest pet peeve, guys, is when you smell. If you smell, do not come around me. Period.
Slider. You stink.
Everybody loves music. What's the first album you ever bought?
I guess for me would probably, I didn't buy it, but myself. But Crisscross, Make You Jump on cassette tape. But I would say the album that I purchased myself was probably Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Probably the Now 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't even know. One of those Now albums, dude. That's it. That's all I got.
Are you ready for Now? 17 of today's hottest superstars in one all-new Power Pack collection.
What's the one thing you can't live without?
Women, for sure.
Yeah,
Definitely
vagina.
Hello, ladies. How are you? Fantastic.
I think women balance men out, and it's that's it.
You complete me.
If women go, we die. So
Can't live with them, can't live without them. So
Nope.
you know, whatever. Yeah.
Women can't live with them, can't live without them.
Not the POS you're driving right now, but what's your dream car?
oof, dream
Ooh,
car.
that's a good one. Mine probably a '67 Corvette Stingray.
Thinking
V-back, baby.
I'm thinking a '69 Mustang just because my dad had one and I always wanted one, and the little shit sold it for like $2,000 to some random person. I would have bought it, but '69 Mustang.
Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. One of them's got to go. Which one is it?
One's got to get the shit out
TikTok's
of her.
gone.
Fucking. I don't use TikTok or X, so both of those
Yeah, both of them get the fuck
kick
out of here.
rocks.
Only Instagram and Facebook's the only I use.
If you weren't in your current occupation, what other line of work would you be in?
That's a hard one.
Yeah,
I love what the hell I do. I don't know.
Definitely love what I do. Shit, I'd probably still be doing. I don't know.
I think that,
Deployed contracting stuff.
You see, my identity must remain mysterious and my mission secret. I cannot reveal it to you.
and I'd probably be fighting somewhere. I'd probably be in the UFC or something because it was either bodybuilding or UFC, and I chose bodybuilding. So,
Do you think we really landed on the moon?
no, hell, fuck no.
Ooh, that's a
No.
great question. But
No.
we have got to space, so
It's a conspiracy, man!
I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and say it's possible.
No, it's not possible because there's so much other shit that has come out that it's not proven. And if it is, why have we not been on the moon again?
Very good question.
Excellent question. And the answer you're looking for lies right here.
Which Walking Dead character are you? I'm dead guy number 1 in episode 2.
Rick. 100%.
Dude, why can't I think of his name
Shane?
right now? No, you fucking.
Come on, people, what the hell?
Fucking
Why can't I think of his name?
what's his name?
Crossbow guy.
Oh,
Damn,
Daryl. Yeah, Daryl.
Yeah, I'm fucking
Yeah.
Daryl to the max, bro.
Yeah, Daryl's a beast.
Thanks. It's my gun!
If a movie was made about you, what kind of movie would it be? And who would they cast for you?
Wow, that's a really hard
That's a
one.
good
Ooh,
one.
Tom Hardy for me. 100%.
Tom Hardy. Shit.
Shit, you?
I don't know, man. That'd be a rough one for me. Either shit, Mark Wahlberg,
Bro,
but
Jason
he's kind of
Momoa,
short.
100%.
His name is Jason Momoa.
Okay.
You should get out.
Okay,
Whatever
and he's
the fuck
not
it is.
even fucking
you know what?
Samoan.
I don't like him. Okay, I'm gonna be
Okay,
honest
good.
with you.
Why?
I don't like him because he's a fucking liberal. What do you mean?
All right, whatever.
He's a liberal. He's the most hardcore leftist I've ever met in my life. Don't like him.
That's cool.
After, of course, eating food and beer, where's the first place you would take visitors in Sarasota besides the beach?
5-0 Donut Co.
Babo Donuts. Oh my god,
I'm all about food.
Let me think about this one for a second. In Sarasota, I mean, I think Livingston's, man. I feel like Livingston's one of those staples. You know, one of those things.
Well, fuck,
not
I've never
bad.
been there.
You've never been to freaking Livingston's?
Absolutely not. I've never been.
Wow.
I've driven past it too many
Okay.
times. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah,
That
I was
looks
thinking
gay.
Golfgate. You know, Golfgate's really cool. Little downtown, little trash, but it's kind of, you know, you got to go to Golfgate when you're really wasted. You know, you know, probably a good one.
Let's go get wasted. Let's do it.
So the name, you know, when I was doing a little research on you guys, the name Warrior Aesthetics struck me as kind of an interesting. It's an interesting dichotomy between those words, right? Because when you think of aesthetics, I mean, you know, of and relating to the beautiful, right? Mm-hmm. And then a warrior is like anything but that. right? Can you talk about how you settled on the name? And am I overthinking it, or
I don't think you're overthinking it, man. I've always been really into like medieval shit, right? Like if I played World of Warcraft for 20 years. If you don't know, I'm a huge fucking nerd. But I've been playing World of Warcraft.
He had a bigger
I'm always
gaming
a warrior,
following
bro.
than he
I'm
did
always
fitness for a while.
I did, yeah. I had like 115,000 followers on Instagram at one point. But I've always been really big into like medieval stuff. I feel like the masculine realm right now is just completely fucking missing, and I've always been pushed towards that. And there's nothing scarier than like a big fucking Viking warrior running out. Warrior in general, like whether a Marine, he's a warrior. Guys, fucking fought for the country.
real life?
Real life warrior right here, right? And like, so I've always been into that. So I think like when I started the business, I think golden aesthetics was really big at that point, right? I'm like, kind of sounds gay, right? Let's be honest. It kind of sounds a little fruity, right? I'm like, warrior aesthetics kind of sounds a little better. I'm like, warrior's like this badass motherfucker, golden, warrior. So I'm like, warrior aesthetics. That's it. And so I think like aesthetics, obviously he's very aesthetic. He's small waist, big chest, just very aesthetically pleasing to look at. And a warrior is like having that fucking grit, that mind power that's like, that can even get to this point. You can't get to this point unless you're a warrior, I promise you.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of where that came from.
So the warrior describes the mindset that it takes to do what you guys do. Yes. And the aesthetic is the look, the beauty, or maybe that's not the right word, but the look you're going for, right? I think of those 70s bodybuilders with the smaller waist and like the Schwarzenegger and Vince Gironda.
It's funny that you even bring that up, and you have the knowledge enough to know the difference between those 70 bodybuilders, which were that kind of more classic narrow waist, to the big guys, crazy Ronnie Coleman era of bodybuilding, where the waist got a lot bigger, but so did everything else.
They had those bellies from all the
carbohydrates, 3,000 carbs in one day. But
so speaking of pros and the bodybuilding and all of that stuff, let's kick it over to Dustin and talk about your journey. You got your pro card about a year ago?
Yeah, 2023.
So what did the role of Warrior Aesthetics play in that, and the team environment, and having somebody to kind of lean on, because you and I have got to know each other in the gym a lot, and so I've heard that story, but the listeners haven't. So tell us that.
Break down what a pro card is too for our listeners who don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially when you start competing, you're an amateur, right? If you've never competed before, there's certain divisions that you can, or classes that you can compete in. So you have true novice, which true novice means you've never competed in your life. You have novice, which means you've never won your class. And then you have the open, right? So open is everybody. And then you have masters, which kind of goes up by age in increments of 5. So masters 35 plus, 40, 45, and so on and so on.
And you can compete in all of them at the same show, correct?
You absolutely can, as long as you have the finances. So
is an entry fee for everyone?
You know what I mean? Yeah, you got to pay for every single one. Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
So then when you compete in the open side, if you win first or second in your class, you are then nationally qualified. What that means is then you can compete in a national competition. Now, depending on what national competition that you go to, they have a certain amount of pro cards that they can give out. So it can range anywhere from the top 2 people in the class can then get their pro card. It can be top 3 in general, meaning that, every class is separated by height and weight. And so in these height categories, if you win first place in all the first place finishers in every single one of these categories, they're going to vie for the overall, right? And so sometimes it'll be the top 3, which is the overall guy, and the second overall and third overall. Those guys will get their pro cards. But it all really depends on the competition.
So winning the competition doesn't guarantee you a pro card, right? It's
not as an amateur,
right? It just depends on how rigorous that competition is.
Absolutely.
How many pro cards they have to award.
Absolutely.
I've never heard anybody talk about this before.
So when he competed, it was the first national show of the year. I knew we were swinging, right? We'll go into it a little bit. We actually decided to do men's physique. This
is the pro card show. This is the one that got him the pro card.
Yep.
Okay.
So long story short, we won his first class. We got the overall, which means when you get the overall, you beat everyone in the whole show.
Yeah, the whole show. Right.
We got classic physique overall, and then we got the men's physique overall.
Oh, you're talking about the Daytona?
Yes.
Yep.
To qualify for nationals, right? We got the overall. Went to nationals. We were reverse award around 50 guys, maybe if not more. 50 guys. We won the overall to get us pro card. So at that show, there's 8 people, right? There's 8 different height classes. So there's 8 guys on stage. So Dustin, they move right to the middle, right? So we knew he was getting his pro card. Now the overall is the icing on the cake. It really doesn't mean anything. It just kind of means that you just swamped the whole fucking show. So at that show, we won. We got the overall, so we beat everyone in the whole fucking show. So he was the best men's physique competitor on that day to get his pro card, and that's that was a big accomplishment. So shout out to you, man.
And so I guess huge. back to your question as far as like the role that I guess Matt played and how I came about. So when I first moved here to Sarasota, it was about 2020. I was still deploying. I was going overseas. That's what I did for work. I was a deployed contractor. Can't really tell you what I did.
Just leave it at that.
Yeah. Can't really tell you what I did. But yeah, so I saw Matt in the gym, and he was training his competitor Alice, right, initially. And I had a coach before, but he was in another
long
state.
ways away.
Exactly. And he wasn't really that attentive. And so I was training myself for a competition. I ended up coaching myself. That was actually my first overall that I won in Classic Physique over in the Hurricane Bay. Hurricane Bay. In Tampa. That was my first overall that I won there. And then I would see Matt, and he's like, I'm pretty sure you asked me, hey, when you let me coach you, brother? I was like, hey, I'm pretty good right now. I don't know if I'm going to compete again, but we'll see.
I just won an overall by myself,
bro.
I'm good.
And so, but if I wanted to coach, and if I was going to get a coach, I wanted somebody who was going to be local.
Yeah.
And so when I was finally going to go for my pro card, and I actually had the time because we just had a kid, she just turned 2 at the time. And I was like, okay, I want to compete again. So I was deploying. I felt in my mind this was going to be my last time deploying. So I was like, hey, Matt, I just want to let you know that when I get back from this deployment, it's on. So save me a spot. I'm going to go for my pro card. And he's like, okay. So, get done with the deployment, come back.
And were you training overseas?
Yeah, absolutely. I stayed in pretty good shape, but towards the end, towards the end,
pretty good shape.
Check my Instagram, check the video.
I absolutely was in shape.
Oh, I saw that one.
But understand this. So when I was about to leave this site, we were closing it down. So I was a site lead over about 15, 20 guys and over about $100 million worth of equipment. And so I had to logistically move all of this stuff out, piece all this stuff together and move it. And so I started to get inconsistent in the gym for the last month. And then from there, I kept my diet pretty good. But when I got home, this is the first time that I've been home during the holidays in 6 years. Wow. This is the first time that I actually got to go see my family. Oh yeah, I got this story.
After I saw the video, I asked him how he got like that, and then he told me this.
This is the first time that I actually got to go back to see my family for California and be home for Christmas in 6 years. So when I got there, I didn't work. I made all my money overseas. I'm not working. I'm chilling. I'm hanging out with family. We're doing stuff, all that kind of stuff. I ate everything, all right? My family's Hawaiian. All we do is cook and eat, right?
It looked like you might have eaten a family member.
Ube cookies. I'm eating freaking spam musubi, freaking pokey this, pokey that. Freaking, bro, I'm eating every Kahlua pig shit. Dude, oh my God. My Uncle Doug is an amazing cook. My Auntie Jip, too. She's amazing. And so that's all I did. I ate, took the whole time off the gym. I said, fuck it. My body is going to relax. But, again, so that relaxation paid dividends. I know my work ethic. I know my mindset. I know what I'm capable of. I don't give a shit what I look like. I know where I'm going.
Right.
And so when I got there and Matt took me on, I get a lot of looks. Right. So, I show up to the Sunday check-ins and shit. Matt's like, all right, go through your posing. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Go through my posing. You got these other guys over here like, who the fuck's this guy? He looks like shit. And I'm like, yeah, just
flabby.
Just wait, motherfuckers. That's my mindset. Just fucking wait. And so as the weeks went by, and then they start seeing, they're like, holy shit, look at, oh man, this guy's shape is ridiculous. What the fuck? What? Yeah, I told you, motherfuckers. You thought I was playing, huh? Yeah. Now shut up.
Pretty much.
So what was the time, how much time went from you being in that video that I saw a little bit out of shape, we'll say nicely, to winning your pro card? How much time was
so that again was about like January 1st all the way until May. It was like May 15th, May something like that, and that was the pro card day.
So about January you were big boy that I saw, and then in May. So that just says there's hope for any of us, right?
So to me,
you got a mindset like that.
Exactly, man. A lot of people reach out to me like, "Oh, we're going to start. Oh, whatever, bro. When you start, you start. Let me know. So I don't take people seriously until they start busting their fucking ass. So we got this guy named Sebastian, right? Love him, fucking one of my best friends. Whatever. He's on the team. He works in November. So they were prepping together, and Sebastian made really good progress in the beginning, right? We're talking February, probably late February, right? And I just slowly every week started Dustin catching him. Dustin catch him on his heels, and then Dustin overpassed him on condition level, right? And then we start seeing Dustin's shape coming in, and then I'm like, holy shit, okay, that we could do this. And I remember Amp like, take off your, let me see you looking like, boom, just veins shredded, whatever. So then they actually competed together. They did the summer shred. They both won the overall at that show. Phenomenal. You know, they great freaking chemistry in the team. But yeah, it's been remarkable, man, seeing him transform from that to where he is now. And not even just that, man. Like I know, like, you know, the past couple shows have not gone the way we wanted to.
Is what it is.
But it's okay, because you know what? We're gonna go to this next show in 4 weeks. We're gonna show out there. And I think he's growing as a coach, growing as a person, and it's just been, I'm so blessed to have him on the team.
Well, dude, from the outside looking in, the St. Louis, you got robbed a little bit. You know, definitely should have placed higher there, but that was your first pro show.
That was my first.
So from what I understand, you kind of got to pay your dues, right?
You got to,
and,
yes, sir.
And you can't correct judges on the pronunciation.
Yeah, I definitely don't do that, dude.
Yeah, you know, can I ask how much of that this stuff is political and how much of it relates to the judges?
They did a whole episode on Warrior Talks about it.
I mean, it's a great question to ask. I think that politics you can't really talk about, because what happens is the IPB and the NPC own everything. You cannot go against them, right? So even if they do play something, you can't really say anything, right? Like obviously we've had a couple of judges on, we've talked to some judges to see where but to be 100% honest, I feel like people think judges are getting blowjobs from the athletes to get fucking, let's be honest, to get placings. Oh, that girl won because she was fucking the judge. Guys, I'm here to put that's a myth. It's a fucking myth. That is not political, right?
Happen.
There's no money getting paid to the judges.
Everyone's always going to look for a reason why they didn't win, right? Like there's going to be an excuse to everything.
There will never be some, you know, looking inward.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it is what it is. I placed where I placed, and, you know, I mean, the biggest thing that I have to take away from that is I don't give a shit what the judges say. I have to continue to beat myself. I am my only competition. It doesn't matter who else is on that stage. As long as I continue to beat my previous showing,
right,
I'm making progress and I'm doing well. Do I want to win? Absolutely.
Right.
Do I have the mindset going in it that this is my show? Absolutely. That's what winners do.
So for you and Sarasota that don't understand, when you're a professional bodybuilder, you have plenty of shows in the country that go on every weekend. This is about one show weekend, right?
Yep.
You have to, now you're a pro, right? So when you go up against, you get your pro card. You're going against every overall winner in the fucking country.
You can't go back to the novice.
Every overall winner in the country. When you get your pro card, you're done. You're in the pro ranks now. So to go to the Olympia, which Arnold Schwarzenegger was in, all these, you know, big time, Ronnie Coleman, they were all, that's the Olympia. That's the Super Bowl of bodybuilding, right? So our job as an IPB pro bodybuilder is to win first in the class. That could be 30 guys. You know, if you get second place, bitch ain't going to Olympia. You know, and that's it. You're done. You have to win first. So for us, the best place we got was 10th, right? And again, I think we got robbed. I truly believe that. I think that we should have been anywhere between top 5, right? I think we'd have been happy with that. But it doesn't matter. It's a fucking loss, right? We're going to move forward. But I think a lot of people don't understand that. For people who are listening to this that don't understand bodybuilding, you have to win first in the, now plus, you remember how we were talking about height classes, right? There's no more height classes when you're a pro. You're versus everyone. You could be versus.
You can have a 6'6" guy versus a 4'11" dude.
Meatball.
It's the best shape wins. So that's our goal, right? Now I feel like we got one more show coming up. After this, we're going to put it behind us, and then we're going to go and just be the best coaches we could be for a while, put him in an off-season, grow his weak points, and then come back next year, see what we could do. The good thing is there is a thing called the Masters Olympia, right? Which I think that we're focused on the Olympia, of course, but I think there's something that I don't think he's thinking about yet, and that's the Masters Olympia, right? Because he's about to be 40 in the next year. If we win a few of these Masters shows, you apply to go to the Masters Olympia.
Right.
And if you win that, dude, that's a huge title. That's a feather in your cap for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah, you had the one guy. You had that one guy on the Warrior Talks podcast.
He was a Masters Olympia, but he
more
was
than
also
once, right?
He was also the 212 Olympia.
Oh, no kidding.
So he went to the big boy. You know, so there's a Masters Olympia, and then there's actual Olympia, right? So I just love that they have Masters, because I have a lot of clients right now that start at 45 years old, and then they get their pro card, and then it gives them a spot to compete, right? Yeah. Like Jacqueline on my team right now, she started when she was pretty much 40, right? So got a pro card at 40, and now we're I think she's 43 now, but you know, it gives her a spot to compete, and it gives these older people a spot to compete. She didn't even start until she's 40. She can't compete against these girls that are all bubbly in bikini. It's not possible, right? We do a good job. I think we're great, but it gives them a spot to compete in, and I think someday we're going to make him there. For sure.
We brought up kind of an interesting topic, and obviously everyone's got different goals. I think I've heard Dustin wants to win 3 Olympias and crazy goals. These guys driven, but like, I feel like and this could be completely off, but I feel like there's a certain percentage of people that are in bodybuilding because they're trainers and they want to win that pro card because it's good for their business. Is that Is that safe to say? Is there a lot of that, or is that just,
I think, yes. I mean, I'll have Dustin's take on here in a second. But I think yes, but I think a lot of people do it for the wrong reasons. You know, you're never going to get your pro card if you want it just for the pro card and you want it for business. The only reason why you're ever going to get a pro card is if you want to fucking be a pro and you want to be the best bodybuilder you can be. Like, I think that's when people mess up, right? When you want to just get the pro card to help with business, guys. I'm more successful than a lot of coaches. I'm humbly saying, right? I'm very successful. Do I have my fucking pro card?
Negative.
No.
Right.
There's a lot of people think there's going to be money when it comes to the pro card. That means nothing in this business. There's 1,000 pro cards, dude. There's millions.
There's not much money to go around in the business to be.
There's
quite
none.
frank,
we talked
anyways.
about that in depth on a few podcasts, man. There's no money in bodybuilding. Pro card's not going to give you anything. It's what you do with that pro card status, right? Like, and actually, I think most top coaches don't even have the pro card. If anything, people don't want someone who's a pro and actively competing because it takes away from them.
Right.
He has so much that he has to focus on. You know,
he has to focus on.
He's got fucking 6 hours of work to do every single day. You think he's going to really, I mean, he does a great, fantastic job, but I think that's why you see people who don't have their pro card and not actively competing do a little bit better. Honey Rambod, best in the fucking game. Chris Aceto, not pro.
Yep.
There's so many big coaches. You guys might not know who they are, but they're the best in the world. They're not fucking pro. So,
I mean, so when these people get their pro cards, is money going to be involved? Like, some people think that, as soon as I get a pro card, the money's just going to be coming in. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It's what you do with it. And yes, like you're saying, if you vie to get your pro card and you do everything that you can to get this pro card, you want to be the best athlete that you can be. You want to see your body continue to evolve.
Right.
And so, like, for me, you'll see some people get their pro cards and then all of a sudden they get into the pro leagues and then they're just a mediocre pro. They're never going to win again. So one of the big things for us is, like, why rush it? Stay in the amateurs for as long as you can and win. Stack up some wins, get some trophies.
Practice.
Get polished in your posing. And then, if that's something that you want to continue to strive for, go for it. Is it going to make you a better coach? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's all based on your experience and your knowledge anyways.
It might if you're doing it for the right reasons. True. It might if you're doing it for the right reasons. You've been through the fire, so you can kind of walk somebody through it. But
Most
I
definitely.
agree, if you're not getting your pro card because you want to be the best bodybuilder you can be, then and you want it just for the the business
title,
side of it, it's not going to.
well, it's very hard to
make you a better coach.
find somebody like Dustin. That's like going to do the work, but then also has care and heart in his team. And big shout out to him. And I don't think people give Dustin enough shout outs. Like, there was a lot of times when he didn't even have clients in the show and he would come support the team in the beginning, right? And that shows so much. He would take 12 hours out of the day and I'm like, bro, Dustin, let's go. But now over the past year, everyone knows it's me and Dustin. They know we're together. Right. We go to these shows. Matt and Dustin's here. We know he's bringing good athletes. Now Dustin's having his own athletes coming up. He's had a bunch at the stage. So now it's like, again, the pro card never did that for him. The pro card's not going to do shit. And like I said, I think that people do it for the wrong reasons. There's exactly what he said. There's a lot of mediocre pros who think getting the pro card is gonna bring you that money. It ain't gonna happen. And I think the only people who really turn pro are the people that want it inside. Yeah. That desperately want to fucking just win. They just want to outwork everybody. And you're not gonna turn pro if you don't have that mindset.
Right. It's kind of like the old cliche. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey to get there. Absolutely. Right. It teaches you everything, and your journey is internally driven, which I give you a lot of credit on. Can we talk a little bit also about, like, I'm sure there's right ways to do this and then, like, wrong ways to do this in terms of how you're treating your body to prep for some of these shows. Is that something you guys come across a lot?
Well, absolutely.
Go first.
When
I think we're going to talk about compounds.
Yeah, I definitely.
Are we?
Right?
Talk about drugs?
Definitely the direction that we're headed right here.
Let's talk about drugs.
So when it comes to right and wrong ways of doing things, now I feel as though if in fact your goal is to compete, do I think that you need to take those performance-enhancing drugs? Absolutely not. My first 3 competitions, I was natural, and I placed top 3 in all of those 3 competitions. I placed second against Callum Von Moger in my first competition, and he's a big name, right? That dude had like 40 pounds on me. But it's just,
there was only 2 people, but
yeah, it was just me and him. But it's just like the right way. I would definitely recommend people stay as natural as they can for as long as they can. Build mature muscle. Find your foundation in the gym. Understand how to work out. Understand progressive overload. Understand time under tension and tempo with your reps. Alongside that, you have to dial in nutrition. Understand what you're eating, how you're eating it. Be consistent with the amounts. And the only way to do that is by weighing your food. If you can do those 2 things and be disciplined disciplined and committed in those two things, I think you're doing it right. And then eventually, if in fact you find yourself wanting to go further in this, and then maybe you want to dabble in some performance enhancing drugs, I think that would be the platform at that point to then do it. I think the wrong way of doing it is to say, hey, I want to compete. Let me call this guy. Yo, yeah, you know, I don't have a workout plan. I don't know what I'm doing, but let's start and hit me up with some Trend and some Anavar. Fucking ass, right? But it's just like, that's the wrong way of doing things. It's the wrong way of thinking things. You have to build that.
It's a shortcut. It's a shortcut.
That's the exact word I was thinking of. You're describing somebody who's using it as an enhancement to an already, you know, crafted routine and regimen, as opposed to somebody who's looking for a quick fix.
There's never a quick fix in this game.
Well, at least not one that's healthy, right?
It's a long. This is you know It's a long game. It's a whole marathon. Life is a freaking marathon. You know, this is a patient man's sport. And if you don't have the patience, you're just not going to get anywhere. You're going to think that you can by adding these performance enhancing drugs. But if you have no performance, it ain't going to enhance shit.
Yeah. And I think majority of the people that are watching this are going to be not competitive athletes. And you don't understand how many douchebags in the gym are running X, 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 and X and look 3 times smaller than me. Guys, I'm on fucking TRT and I'm
Gym bros.
I'm bigger than all y'all. All right, I'm probably stronger than fucking all y'all. Okay, and I was when I was younger. I was honestly natural till I was 23 until I decided to compete. And people were looking at me, and I was stronger than the douchebags on the fucking on Trent and all this shit. And I already knew what they're taking because I know them, right? We're cool. But you know, I was stronger than all them. And why is that, right? It's because I had exactly what Dustin said, the building blocks to get you there. I never needed that shit because I was eating the fucking food. I was doing the training. I was doing my rest and recovery, and I was focused on the building blocks. So then once I threw in that, it was like, holy shit, boom. Exactly. And the only reason why I think that anyone should seriously do it is for 2 things, right? One, you know, you want to just get on TRT, you're an older guy, you want to gain a little bit of size, get a little bit healthier, that's fine. Or 2, compete, right? Me and Dustin, the only reason why we ever took stuff, guys, is because we wanted to compete, we wanted to be a pro bodybuilder, right? Yep. You see a lot of guys in the gym that are running way too much shit and don't have nothing going for them as far as those building blocks.
Right.
So.
Yep. Less is more, number one. And just to give you, you know, some aspect of where I came from, I didn't take steroids until I was 33. So it's just, you know, again.
And it's so important to build a natural foundation. You get too many kids, man, that take stuff at a young age, and it's just going to, 1, ruin your body, 2, you can easily die. I mean, let's be honest, guys. It's just going to fuck you up. Because, again, it's like, you know, you're talking about this guy told me to take this, right? We talk about it all the time. And you hear their dosages, and we're like, who told you that that dose
we need to find them.
was okay? Oh, it was the guy. Oh, you mean the guy that's selling you the drugs? You mean that guy? That guy told you it was good? Okay, cool. Because you want to take more so you could fucking buy more from him. Right. Dude, I picked up this one guy, you know, I don't want to say his name at all, but, you know, he unfortunately passed away. But he was doing 3 cc's a day of long ester, you know, mass. He was doing mass, trend, and test. So 250, 3 cc's a fucking day for 3 months. Dude, this guy, I mean, unfortunately, he did pass away, right? I don't know if that one cycle caused it, but when I picked him up, I said, you're off. We're getting you off. You're natural. You're not even fucking taking anything for 3 months. So I did that, and eventually I had him compete, got his blood work done, whatever. But, dude, people are abusing steroids right now. Like, it is ridiculous, especially right now. Look how many people talk about it on social media. It's so openly talked about Trend's this God drug, the Trend twins. Like, and they're, I mean, I know what they're taking. They're taking 150 milligrams, but if you got a guy that says, okay, take 1,000 milligrams of Trend because he wants you to buy more oil from him that he's making money on, it's all about who you know, right? So it all comes down to finding the right coach and messaging me or Dustin. Okay?
Yeah, right. And then, you know, don't listen to any of those dosages because we are not doctors. Okay. So, you know, let's put that little advisory thing right there. Yeah.
Well, and I think it's something that, you know, maybe it's talked about a lot in the wrong way. So it's good to shed some light on, you know, the need or the lack of need for it in the beginning, in the early days, right? And, you know, if you're going to take it a very, very far, long distance to the pros, right, then maybe at some point you got to consider it. But basically what I'm hearing you say is that it's not necessary in the beginning, in the early days. Learn how to move properly, you know, learn how to lift, learn how to, you know, learn what time under tension is and progressive overloading and all of these things, because those are like the foundational building blocks that come first. And then we, you know, maybe get to that level at some point in time. So I think it's a sensitive topic, but one that
it's an interesting conversation, and I like to bring things out of the shadows because you know we talk about this on the podcast a lot too. The internet age has brought a lot of kind of negative externalities. In addition to all the great things it's done for us, and one of those is it's taken these small communities or relatively small communities like yours and it's brought them out to everybody. So there's people giving bad information who before this stuff was passed hand to hand in like specific gyms and through great coaches, and it's probably a little bit more regulated now. Like
remember when you weren't even allowed to say steroids? Like you weren't even allowed to talk about it 7 years ago, before social media, 10 years ago maybe. And now like it was like Rich Piana. Rich Piana was a big one. He came out and started talking about it, right? Just basically everyone was bashing him for it, right? And now you have Bradley Martin, you have fucking just everyone's talking about it right now, and it's social media, man. Like, and I think they're normalizing steroids when I don't think it necessarily needs to be normalized for the normal person, right? The normal person needs to be fucking natural. There's no reason for you to be taking shit, right? It's not gonna do anything for you. You're gonna fuck your body up long term, especially because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't have a coach. They're just taking it from their local drug guy, right? For us, to get pro in the MPC and to move into the IPB, unless you're in bikini, you have to take shit. And that's where it's kind of, it's unfortunate, but it makes it where they had to do it because it's just competitive. You have no choice but to take XX and X to even fucking compete, you know?
Well, Felipe, did you ever, when we started Sarasota SpeaX, expect to, have a podcast episode where we're talking about steroids and bodybuilding?
No, not at all.
Definitely a new direction. So we appreciate it.
It's super interesting, man. And again, I think these conversations need to be had. And look, people are talking about this stuff anyway, so we might as well kind of like direct the conversation, where we want to, based on your expertise and what you've learned in the many years.
Without a doubt.
Because they're not hearing those messages, I don't think. They're hearing the messages from people who are trying to get money and get attention. Exactly. We're not doing that here. We're trying to provide a service.
100%. Yeah. And we're gonna switch it over to some Sarasota-based discussion, right? You guys, you've been here for 3 years, and you've been here your whole life. So, Tominator Law wants to know, how'd I do? What are your opinions on roundabouts? Do you love them? Do you hate them? You indifferent? What's your thoughts? You want to go first?
I mean,
let Dustin go first.
Like, for us here, locals, I mean, when there's no what I call Q-tips or
snowbirds,
Q-tips, blue hairs, whatever derogatory.
Exactly.
I get what you're saying.
They just they can't figure it out. And it's frustrating. So you get these tourists and these other snowbirds that come in here and they just can't figure it out. Do I think that it's beneficial? No, I don't think it's saving traffic, to be honest.
So I'm going to be the opposite. I think they're fucking great, honestly. If you look at Fruitville and 41, if they did not put that roundabout there in Fruitville and 41, dude, I used to wait at that light for 30 fucking minutes. There's only one way on freaking Fruitville, maybe two way, whatever. Right. But back in the day, it wasn't that bad. Now they put the roundabout. Well, people are moving. Yeah. Like they can get out of my way. I got a truck.
Some people get stuck in that roundabout, but I would have to agree. And after being on this show and doing 55 episodes now and asking 55 people their opinions on roundabouts, we've heard pretty much all of it at this point. And I think the general consensus is when they work, because people know how to use them. They work, right?
Absolutely.
So do we think we need to get some homeless people and put them in the roundabouts? Is that the way to make money, or would that slow down progress?
Here's what happened with the homeless person in the roundabout to me the other day. I'm going around the roundabout and on Bee Ridge, east of the interstate, those two or whatever that are going out east. I'm going around the roundabout. I'm cruising, dude. I'm taking my son to camp or whatever. Cruising around the roundabout, and one thing we did learn is they put obstructions in the middle of roundabouts on purpose, right? So like that stage there, or there may be a statue or landscaping. They put that there on purpose so that you're not distracted or you're not influenced by the person that's coming into the roundabout from over here or from over here. Like you're just focused on where you're going, not like who's coming into it, right?
That makes sense.
So I'm cruising, I can't see the cars in front of me. I go around the roundabout, and I'm going around the roundabout probably a little too fast, and there's two cars that are dead stop because a homeless guy's crossing the street in front of the cars, and so they stop. I'm coming around. I'm like, oh snap, skirt, and I narrowly, I had to swerve and miss this car by that much, and I'm like, and it was a Wednesday before we were filming a podcast. I'm like, I don't know if it would have been good.
Did you tell this story last week?
Maybe I did, but I had to tell these guys because they mentioned.
I didn't hear it.
They mentioned homeless guys and roundabouts.
We haven't aired that episode yet.
What are the chances of that?
That's crazy.
Yeah, pedestrians in the roundabouts, not a good idea. They need
no. Another thing we like to ask our guests, and I'll leave it up to Felipe, is.
We always ask, and if you guys have seen the show before, you know this, we always ask our guests, who else do you think would be a good fit for what we do here? Who does Sarasota need to know? Who's somebody we should get on Sarasota SpeaX? Because you obviously know different people from your world who are operating here that might be interesting to us and interesting to the community.
I think Joe the Realtor. I think he's local. You're
A
crazy.
realtor.
You're crazy for not getting him on. I mean, he's probably the biggest. He owns the Shore, right?
Yeah.
He owns the Shore. He probably sees signs everywhere. He's awesome. I think Jack Panda, the meal prep company.
Yeah, I want to get him a good one.
Extremely influential in this town, man. Such a nice guy. Who else you got?
Meal prep company?
Like meal prep company.
Give me some more on that.
Jack Panda.
So he does meal preps, man. You know, he'll do like lifestyle or some of our competitors. He'll make just chicken, breast. But I actually shout out to him. He's been sponsoring me for the past month. Sponsored me fully. Sends me 3 meals every single. He does twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays.
Yep.
He got a guy who comes, drops it off at my house.
So it's always fresh.
Always fresh food.
So it's not like a one-time delivery thing to where like, all right, you got meals for the whole week, and when you get down to like day like 5 or 6, you're like, I don't want to eat this. No, it's fresh. 3 days, then you got another delivery coming, and you get some more fresh food.
And it's good stuff, dude. He's a pretty badass cook.
Okay.
Yeah, I love him a lot. I think that's good. Who else we got?
I don't know, man. My
Those are the two that really stick out to me.
He's got prep brain.
I do got prep brain.
Prep brain.
I think Joe would be awesome. And, you know, also he's a competitor too. You know, he just went to nationals. His wife competes. I coached her last year. We won an overall there. He's probably one of the biggest realtors in town. I know we got Beachy, right?
Yep.
You know him. He's
Beachy.
a little bigger, I think. But, you know, whatever. But either way, right on the same level. I think it's something.
It's almost impossible to figure out size in terms of realtors. I mean,
no kidding.
work with somebody who you like.
Pretty much.
There's a lot of great realtors in town.
We kind of have a strict no realtor rule just because there's so many. We get one on, then we got to get them all. But you know,
we make exceptions for folks who have other things they want to talk about. If you happen to be a realtor, we're not knocking anybody's profession, but we're not going to just talk about real estate in Sarasota because you know what that would turn into around here.
I mean, you have you got the food and beer owners on here. Are you interested in having other?
Of course, restaurants are great.
Owners?
Restaurants are great.
So the owner of Tandoor. She's actually an amazing
She's
person.
really interesting. I know who you're talking about.
Person. And she does a lot of good for back home in India.
Okay.
So you know
that would be a good one.
Also, be a great one to have.
And if she brings in free Indian food,
dude,
that's what I'm saying.
That has to be the best Indian food I've
don't
ever
bring up food, guys.
tried.
Don't bring up food. He's very passionate about food right now.
He loves it. I was always hesitant to talk about food, but he's like, dude, sometimes I just got to look at it. Sometimes I just got to. And I'm like, you're sick in the head, bro.
I don't understand. Yesterday, you know, wife went to bed. I'm on the couch and I'm just scrolling for
food porn.
Pretty much. But no, I'm going through Netflix, right? And then it comes across this thing. It said Korean fried chicken, and they have a Korean fried chicken freaking series, bro. And I was like, "Go!" I'm watching
this right here, motherfuckers.
You know, I'm gonna visually absorb the food, and I'm gonna hopefully feel satiated. But
it gets to the point, guys, that you can taste it by the fucking smell.
Yeah,
and sometimes the sight. I mean, I'm telling you, like when I'll walk in, I'll be like, "That's a bagel." Or walk in, that's an English muffin. Like that's chicken wings.
Scent plays a big role in taste, right?
Yeah,
that's a big part of it.
I mean, like I told them,
he's just got enough discipline to be able to smell it and not take action on it.
For instance, like I was telling him in the last Warrior Talk episode, we're going to 50 Donut Co. Right?
Yeah.
And yes, I understand that I cannot eat it.
He
right
walks
now,
into
but
the
I'll
shop.
walk into it, and they're like, "Hey," I'm like, "Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, how can we help you?" I was like, "Actually, you can't.
You already did. I'm just looking.
I'm just here because I'm on prep. I can't eat any of this, but I wanted to see my favorite donut and smell it.
Can I smell it?
All right, guys. You guys have a good one. I'll be here after the competition."
That's great. Well, we're going together, man, and I'll be up there to support you. Hopefully, at St. Pete. Looking
awesome.
Forward to it, and thank you guys for coming on. Thank you for everything again. Thanks for coming to the party,
dude. Absolute pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
Keep
We gotta
crushing
come
it.
to mine
And
on the
listen,
7th.
if you haven't checked out Warrior Talks and you have any sort of passion towards fitness, go check that out. Warrior Talks on YouTube, Warrior Talks on Instagram, and appreciate you guys again coming on.
Of course. Thank you, man. Let's go.